Yes, hello everyone and welcome to all our West Australian football fans to another edition of Around the WAFL. It is a stacked show that's coming your way, so be sure to keep your eyes and ears peeled throughout this episode. We got some great stuff coming your way. We're going to have a preview of round 12, a huge round of the WAFL, plus a preview of the first week of WAFLW Finals action. That's right, 4 teams remain in the WAFLW competition. Plus, we're going to have a chat with Peel Thunder's Michael Sellwood, who had a great game on the weekend against Perth, and he's looking ahead to another big test against West Perth at Joondalup this Saturday. Paul Persick with you alongside Ethan Roth. Huge round 12, this one, Rothy.
Action-packed, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Pumped for it.
It's going to be a huge one. All 4 games that'll be coming your way on the AFL app. We're going to preview those games as well. But first, here's how you can win big.
Punt from 50, win. Little too into the game, win. Too cocky, almost a win. Risking it all for the glory, win. It's win-win at the WAFL. Great footy, food and entertainment. Find out more at wafl.com.au.
Yes, win-win at the WAFL, and Peel Thunder. They're on a winning run, of course. They're unbeaten at home. They face another big test going way north to take on West Perth at Pentanet Stadium in Joondalup. They've had a good record against West Perth in recent times over there at Joondalup. Will they be able to maintain it? Well, we'll find out on Saturday. Joining us now, he's been an absolute star for Peel Thunder so far this season. He's got a knack for taking a couple of big marks, and he took a couple of good ones on Saturday against Perth. Michael Sellwood, he wears the number 5, and he's good enough to join us here on Around the WAFL. Michael, good, how are you, mate? It's good to have you on the show.
Good to have me, Paul. Should be good.
No doubt about it. Nice to be back on top spot in the ladder after a win like that. 44 points over Perth, back at the head of the competition.
Yeah, it is. It's a very tight competition at the moment. Anyone can beat any given day, so it's good to get the sort of 4 points. I think we're equal with East Perth with beating them on percentage, so yeah, really good.
Were you expecting a tough contest against Perth? At times are unpredictable?
Yeah. They're sort of a handball-happy team. So we came in with a plan that sort of would combat that. And it sort of worked. So, but there are a good team, and we feel that when we play, there's a lot of teams that sort of come after us as a line team. So we were ready for a tight battle, but happy to get you. So
there was one big positive as well for Peel Thunder, the return of Blair Bell to the league side. He's had a couple of games in reserve, but he's brought plenty of spark to the league side, and he performed well on the day.
Yeah, he's on the manager down there for a reason. So he's our best and fairest winner last year. Brings a lot to the team, not only his play, but great bloke and great leadership. So it's good to have him back today.
Your side loves playing at home. It's fastly becoming probably the toughest place to travel to in the WAFL, having not lost a game so far this season there. You guys love playing at Lane Group Stadium?
Awesome. I guess we train there 2 times a week. So, it fits our sort of game well. And we, love it. It's a great ground and the crowd gets around, so it's awesome.
I got to love their support. They're a very dedicated bunch over there at Peel Thunder. Your game was impressive as well, playing a bit of midfield and down back. Is a defender midfielder your preferred role, or do you like to play a whole game in that back 6?
It's probably the whole game back 6. During the pre-season, I did a bit of time, but I'm enjoying my back sort of role down there. He's given me a bit more freedom this year to sort of roll off, take marks. But yeah, enjoying in the back 6 of them.
Have you surprised yourself with your form this year? I mean, you've played state footy, got some attention for the mid-season draft. How do you feel like you're tracking individually?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the season I'm having at the moment. A big pre-season, so I think that sort of helped a bit. And then another year of league footy has helped a lot. So the ability to sort of come in and take on a bigger role has helped me a lot. So
And you've took it on quite well with the form that you've been on this season so far. Now, this weekend going way north to play West Perth at Pentanet Stadium on Saturday. Will that be a massive test, to further prove your position at the top of the ladder, considering West Perth, they always like to pack it out over there at Pentanet Stadium, and they've, at the moment, struggling a little bit. But, it's going to be a tough one against a motivated West Perth team.
Oh, 100%. As I said before, the comp's as close as you'll see it. You can beat anyone on the given day. If you're off 1%, you're probably going to lose. So we know that West Perth are going to give us something, and we just got to have to review this week and see what they're going to give us, and hopefully get the win.
Oh, it's going to be a big game on Saturday, and we wish you all the best over there at Joondalup against West Perth. Michael Sellwood, we really appreciate your time here on Around the WAFL. Go get him against the Falcons on Saturday, and all the best for the second half of the season.
Thank you, boys.
That was Michael Sellwood from Peel Thunder joining us here on Around the WAFL. Spectacular player, and I would have to say, his role as a backman in that back six for the whole game really suits, especially now that Jacob Blight obviously went to Richmond via the mid-season draft. They're needing some options down back, and I reckon he's played good, to cover that sort of hole that needs filling in that back six for Peel Thunder.
The continuity is key for him, I think. Highly rated player. As I said, he was somewhat close to being picked up as a mid-season recruit. There was a couple of clubs interested in him, but nonetheless, I think the Thunder will be the happiest of all to keep his services in the back half of 2024.
Absolutely. Of course, Peel Thunder take on West Perth. We'll preview that game in detail later on here on Around the WAFL. But first, check out some awfully good merch here. Introducing the WAFL Merch Shop, your ultimate destination for all things WAFL. From jerseys to scarves to caps, show your support for the WAFL in style. Grab exclusive merchandise now and gear up to cheer louder than ever before. Visit shop.wafl.com.au today and let your passion shine. The Waffle Shop doesn't get any better than that. I keep saying it, and it is absolutely fact. It is a magnificent place for all your WAFL merch. Got my shirt and my beanie ready to go for this weekend.
Yeah, it's we can't stop promoting it enough, can we?
I love it.
It's all very worthwhile though.
If anyone's not getting their waffle merch right now, then something must be wrong in their heads. I'll tell you that much.
Are you even a waffle fan?
Absolutely. But now let's get into the 4 games that'll be taking place this weekend. You can catch all games live on the AFL app, starting things off with an early Saturday game, an early afternoon game between South Fremantle and the West Coast Eagles at Fremantle Community Bank Oval. It is at 1:10, and we always say how much the opposition against West Coast. I don't think you can say that anymore. Even heading into this game, the Bulldogs will be raging favourites. Wake-up call for them after their loss to Swan Districts. But West Coast, they'll be fresh off the bye, and they'll be hungry to claim another big scalp.
Yeah, the Bulldogs have had the Eagles' measure in recent times, but as you said, I don't think that's going to count for much on the weekend. Not quite the morning start that the Eagles love to play at, but still an earlier start at 1:10. And yeah, Bulldogs back at home, where they do play a lot better. I think they're 3 to 4 better goal side at South Fremantle Oval, Fremantle Community Bank Oval. So, yep, they'll be warm favourites, but you can't count the Eagles out at any cost.
No, especially when you've got players that are running into some good form. Zane True, Jai Cully, who recently had hitouts in the AFL. Now that, of course, you've got a couple of other good young players in there, Rowlandson, Livingston, and so on. I reckon they could, spread some good continuity into that side.
Yeah, Clay Hall's the one who's doing it at the coalface for them, shouldering a lot of the load, wearing the glove out there. He's been, playing not a lone hand, but doing a lot with your Trues and the usual suspects. So they'll have to be right on song if they're a chance.
Absolutely. And also up forward, Zach Strom can be a huge key as well. Kicked 3 last week against Swan Districts in the John Todd Memorial Cup match. I reckon he's going to really give a lot of the Eagles defenders plenty of headaches because he's leading and he's kicking up forward, and his marking inside that 50 has been wonderful to watch.
He's a big boy. So, when he extends his arms out, it can be hard to even, get near him. So they'll be looking to utilise, his marking ability, and he's dead accurate more often than not in front of goal. So, yeah, Zach Strom, a player to keep an eye on for the Bulldogs, as well as, the guys in the midfield. Tom Bletchenden.
Schloith as well.
That'll be the key. Bletchington did kick a nice snap against the Swans. Potentially went missing. It was part of that midfield after that. But the reigning best and fairest for the Bulldogs, I think he's got a massive part to play in this one.
I said on Tuesday, Lewis Rayson, he could be one to watch out for. So keep an eye out for number 31 for South Fremantle on the day.
Yeah, leg speed, elite kick, footy smarts. He really has
Absolutely.
the ball. So.
And Josh Branchy in the ruck as well. He and Livingston, a great matchup in the centre.
Yeah, that'll be where it's sort of won and lost, I guess, to start with. And even if you look down forward, like guys like Chase Bourne, Caden Harbour, love the big occasion. So they'll be looking to feed off the key forwards and hit the scoreboard where they can, get the scraps, so to speak.
Who wins?
South Fremantle.
Yeah, I'll say South Fremantle as well. 7 goals, I reckon. The Eagles will be competitive, but I think class will tell in favour of South Fremantle. That is at 1:10 on Saturday at Fremantle Oval. The Bulldogs and the Eagles. And then we go to the second game. This one's set to be a ripper. You can catch this one live on Channel 7 at 2:10. It is Swan Districts and East Perth at Steel Blue Oval. This one is game of the round, no question about it.
Yeah, no question about it, as you said. This game, I think if Swans win this, we can really put them up as, premiership contenders. I think in that, they're sort of in that, I guess, 2-horse race or 3-horse race with, South Fremantle and maybe East Fremantle for that third position. I think we can clearly say at this point in time, the Royals and Thunder probably top 2, but that third position, the difference between that third and fourth is vital. And if you go back to round 1, East Perth, won that game, but Swan Districts were right in it.
They were.
For, the best part of 3 quarters. So you just wonder how much they've talked about that and, continuing the bulk of that form, but doing it for 4 quarters this time.
Just looking at their last 5 encounters, 6 goals back in round 2 of this year. East Perth got up over there at Sullivan Logistics Stadium, and then a 7-goal win for East Perth in round 13. And then when you look at the last 3 below, round 1, East Perth won by a point, and then Swan Districts won by 23 in round 14, 2022, and then East Perth won by 4 points in round 1 of 2022. So they've had their fair share of close ones. I reckon we could see a close one here on Saturday at Bassendean in front of what I reckon is going to be a great crowd. I reckon it'll be a big occasion, maybe the best chance for Swan Districts to really state their fans under the competition that they can fight for the double chance.
Yeah, back-to-back home games for the Swans. They won't be complaining about that. And the winner, they boost their finals reputation. Expect the Royals to be there. Swans, more than likely at this stage, but nothing's locked in, so they do not want to be complacent against a side who sets the standards as well as the Royals do.
One big problem, I reckon, for the Royals still is that they need that spark up forward. We know Mitch Schofield out for the season, and they haven't been able to find a pure goal-kicking forward. Who are they able to find? Are they going to put Sam Van Diemen back in that forward 50? Tedesco had a bit of a lean run since the WA Day Derby. What are they going to bring to the table in that forward 50?
They've been unlucky, I guess. You think of a Darcy Craven who's been plucked out for the mid-season draft as well. But need that bona fide key forward, ideally, who can be reliable, for them. I guess, both. I guess it's a contrast between that and Swan Districts. Swan Districts do have those more reliable goal kickers up forward, like your Edwards, your Glass McCaskers, your Colemans, your Lynches, the list goes on. Yeah, Coleman will come back, I reckon. He should come back for this week's game. And I reckon that's going to be the difference for me in this one, I reckon. With the Swans forward line, very flexible, very versatile. Very tall East Perth's forward line, yes, very tall. A lot of tall timber. East Perth, they're playing with a small forward lineup. With the exception of Tedesco, he is a big unit and he's a big kick. He kicked that goal from 65 out in the WA Day Derby just a couple of weeks ago. He can cover plenty of distance, but my concern is forward depth. That's going to be in favour of the Swans, and I reckon that's what's going to see them taking the 4 points in this one. I'm going the Swans at Steel Blue Oval based on the fact that they've got a more mobile and versatile forward line. Well, what a result that would be if they can get up. You just wonder, do you chuck a Harrison McCready down forward? That could be an option for the... Well, Ross McQueen shifted him up forward in the last quarter in the WA Day Derby. I don't know why he didn't repeat it. Yeah, it's a good point. Put McCready up forward, counter that. He kicked a couple of good goals on the run late against West Perth a couple of weeks ago, and they didn't repeat it. It astounds me why they didn't repeat it. If they're to counter that, put McCready up forward, shift him from the back line, put him up forward, and be that perfect counter. The Swans tall timber in the 50, but also... I reckon that forward line battle's not going to be the only factor. You look at this battle here. Hammer and Crowden, the two key cogs in the midfield for East Perth, up against Turner and Rocast, same for Swan Districts. That is going to be a hell of a battle. Yeah, traditionally, Hammer and Crowden probably more so your in and under type midfielders, whereas the other two, more leg speed. Not to say they can't do vice versa of that, but yeah, ultimate swingman. That's what probably the Royals need. And I'll tell you one thing for sure, selection's going to be tough at Swan District's HQ, Bassendean this week, because if Coleman does come back in, who goes out?
Absolutely. It's always a good selection headache to have, but also a couple of selection headaches for East Perth as well. I've already given my tip. Who wins?
Yeah, I'm going to go the opposite of you and say the Royals.
Say the Royals.
It would be a big coup for them. It would be a big scout for them. I think, winning would probably be as big as any win to date for them, but I'll back them in.
It's going to be a hell of a game. Swan Districts and East Perth. You can catch that one live on Channel 7 from at 2:10 on Saturday. And then we stay with the Saturday action, Claremont and Perth at Revo Fitness Stadium. Over there at Claremont, the Demons, well, very unpredictable side, hard to trust. Same can be said for Claremont to an extent, even though if they can get the win on the board on the weekend, they can fight back into the 5.
Feels like these two teams didn't verse that long ago where Claremont,
round 7
pretty convincingly. So, it's semi-recent in that respect, going back just over a month or so ago. But yes, Claremont at Revo Fitness Stadium haven't played as well as they have played there in recent years. But coming off that win against the Royals, they should be sky high full of confidence. But Perth, for them, it's just 4 quarters of footy, as cliche as that sounds.
Well, I don't think it can be cliche at the moment because Perth haven't been able to play 4 quarters of football. That's the problem. I mean, they've been able to play 1.5 or 2 quarters at best. The only real 4-quarter performance that they've put on, apart from the 2 wins that they had against Subiaco and Swan Districts, was the loss to East Fremantle. They kept themselves right in touch and they got to within 4 points, had opportunities, did not win the game. That's the last time I reckon Perth has played a 4-quarter game. And I reckon Claremont, as unpredictable as they are, they can still play a better 4-quarter game than Perth at the present time based on the lineup that they've got.
Yeah, it's a good point. Claremont starting to climb back up the ladder. This is just a given that they have to win. You can't be winning games against the Royals for their sake, and then no disrespect to Perth, but then, giving this game up. Perth will like to think that shouldn't matter, and they can, get in between that. And, I think Ollie Easton punishing in the ruck.
Oh.
Josh Edwards going to have a challenge. I know he's faced all the best ruckmen in the comp this year, so Josh Edwards, he's someone who isn't, new to this experience.
No.
He's
But again, Ollie Eastland is his biggest test.
It is. While he's a young man, I think he'll be up for the challenge as much as he can be, and probably the depth of Claremont's backline as well is an interesting one to note going into it.
Yeah, absolutely. There have been a couple of injuries, a couple of losses to that Claremont backline, but I reckon they've still got some good options to cover for that as well. So you look at the likes of Davis, you look at Martinez as well. Mountford is a bit of an unknown. He's been in and out of the side with injury, but you can also shift Bolton in that backline as well. Having said that, as far as Bolton's concerned, the performance he dished up in the midfield against East Perth a couple of weeks ago was absolutely magnificent. It shows why Bolton's needed in that midfield throughout the game.
Yeah, it shows why he has the resume
Absolutely.
that he does at
Premiership,
WAFL level.
best and fairest, Simpson medal, Sandover medal. I mean, his skill in midfield is exactly why.
He still has it. He won't be retiring anytime soon from a Claremont fan's
No way.
point of view.
No
hopefully,
way in
but
hell.
and I think if Claremont can shut down, one key forward for the Demons, I think that's the challenge for the Demons. Say if one key forward gets shut down, whether it's a Stubbs, a quarterman, who is it to step up? Because I don't think we can diminish Perth's ability for one of their forwards to kick a big bag. They've been able to do that. Clark's kicked 3+ goals on multiplications. But when one of those players gets shut down, it seems like who's the next one to step up? Who are they relying on? They don't even know themselves. So that would be the challenge for them.
That brings in my continuing concern for the Demons. Goal-kicking midfielders. They're lacking that. Claremont have got mountains of them.
Yeah, it's probably opposite ends of the stick in that aspect. But honestly, Perth, they haven't played too bad this year. I know that ladder position doesn't reflect that, but if they could play, just I keep harping on about it, but 4 quarters of footy, can they do it? It's a challenge repeated for German.
Absolutely. Who wins with that in mind?
Honestly, there's a temptation to tip Perth with, I've usually gone upset a week, but I think Claremont on this time.
Do not fall into that temptation, Ethan. I swear
Hey,
you're going to...
You said that to me with the Eagles Perth game.
Good Lord.
Nah, I'll tip the Tigers.
I'm not going to hear the end of that for the rest of the season. No, I'm going to go Claremont as well, maybe by about 10 goals. I reckon they need to put on a ruthless display in front of their home crowd. They haven't played as well at Revo Fitness Stadium as they should. They've had a couple of embarrassing losses, but this big win will no doubt restore their confidence at home. Now, the final game coming up, this one should be a beauty as well. And that is West Perth and Peel Thunder at Pentanet Stadium, Saturday 2:30 live on the AFL app. Of course, Peel Thunder, they have had the wood over West Perth. They won their last 3 encounters. It's a must-win for the Falcons. I say every game, and Bo Wardman said this for Subiaco, I'm going to echo this for West Perth. Every game in the second half of the season is virtually a sudden death final. Win or bust for the Falcons.
Yeah, and, I'm pretty confident in saying it shouldn't be the margin that Peel Thunder won by earlier in their season, well and truly over 100 points. Obviously, Peel make the long trip up opposite the highway. It's the longest trip. Plenty of times for the players to think in the car, but Peel Thunder could go one game clear. They have the opportunity to do that, and just looking at it on paper, Reedy versus Carter, Carter matched it with Scott Jones a few weeks ago. 32 hitouts. Almost got the win, but he showed that he can do it at his best. Brady is another challenge.
Yeah, Liam Reedy, he's a step above. He's paired up with Ollie Eastland, as the best state-level ruckman in the competition. We talked about this on Tuesday. Carter's going to have himself one hell of a challenge against Liam Reedy on Saturday.
He will, but if anyone can do it, he's probably the one that's up for the challenge.
And he's a good young ruckman as well. He's still developing his craft as a key ruckman for the West Perth side. So that'll, really resonate with the side and for the fans as well. Problem is, they're averaging 9 less hitouts compared to Peel Thunder, 47 to 38. And the disposals per goal, a little bit even between the two sides, 28 for West Perth, 25 for Peel Thunder. But it's just the efficiency that Peel Thunder are well known for this season, especially in front of goal.
And they haven't travelled to Pentanet Stadium since last year, the very start of last year almost. So they won that one by 8 points. So they don't mind travelling up there. They don't get a lot of games up there to the Thunder, but it's a place where they've proven they can win.
And it's a wide ground, Their style of play really suits them because the ground is a lot wider compared to some of the other grounds in the WAFL. They can open up the play at both sides of the ground through their efficient back line. They can play it through the corridor. They can draw the contest on the outer side, and then you have 1 or 2 plays in the corridor, and Peel can penetrate that with some direct football. And I reckon that's going to be a huge difference for Peel Thunder. West Perth, they need to find a way to counter that. Go man on man, play that extra man in that contest and put the pressure on.
I think they can as well. I think they can be competitive. I don't think this is going to be a blowout. I don't think this is going to be a game where we can just lock in.
It won't be 100 points. You can bet
Peel
that.
Thunder for a win. I think West Perth will back themselves, but you just, that if you're, as Michael Sellwood said earlier in the episode, if you're 1% off, then any team can get you on your day and you probably lose. So both teams will have that in mind. And the Thunder don't strike me as a team who will be complacent. They strike me at the moment. They're locked in. They're focused. They want to, revamp themselves from that 2023 grand final loss. And they're doing that each week. I expect them to do that on the weekend again, and I think the Thunder win, but by nowhere near the margin that they won by earlier in their season.
You've gone with Peel Thunder to win?
Yep.
I'm actually going the opposite way. I'm going to say West Perth, they need to sense the urgency of this game. If they don't win, the occasion, the urgency, the pressure. If they don't win, they are absolutely cooked for the season. So they need to find that sense of urgency in front of the home crowd on Saturday afternoon and get the job done. I reckon they can. Carter could hold the key. Black, Meadows need to fire up. The forward line of West Perth need to stop being stagnant as well. They need to be a little bit more flexible. Put Joseph Hinder in that forward line as well. They can kick a couple of big bags of goals as well. So I'm backing West Perth to win, but only just. I reckon it'll be a great game. The urgency is going to be sensed by both teams. West Perth needed a little bit more.
Bit proactive in that forward line. I like it, to be honest. I haven't really gone for any risks this week, and I think you need to do that. So I think if anyone's going to come away with tipping it, could be yourself, but I guess time will tell, won't it?
Just like that game in Northern, which I'm not going to hear the end of come the end of the season. No, you got it spot on. But what a game that one's going to be. West Perth and Peel Thunder on Saturday at Pentanet Stadium in Joondalup.
Punt from 50, win. Little too into the game, win. Too cocky, almost a win. Risking it all for the glory, win. It's win-win at the Waffle. Great footy, food and entertainment. Find out more at waffle.com.au.
Win-win big at the WAFL, but speaking of big win-wins, it's time. It's finals time in the WAFLW competition. 8 teams started in the season, 4 go out and 4 remain. Those 4 teams are the top 2 teams, East Fremantle and Claremont, and then finishing third, West Perth in their first finals campaign, and Swan Districts in 4th, back in the hunt for the premiership. They won a premiership in the early years of the current WAFLW format, but now The 4 teams do battle. This weekend is a double header in the semi-finals at Pentanet Stadium in Joondalup. That's where the grand final is going to be on July 7th, 2024. The road to July 7th starts this Sunday. First semi-finals a morning match at 11:05 at Pentanet Stadium, and then the second semi-final at 1:10 is East Fremantle taking on Claremont. Both games, by the way, you can check live on streamer.com.au, your home of WAFLW football in 2024. You saw the West Perth game against Subiaco. You called that game on Sunday. West Perth not in the best frame to go to 2 straight losses heading into a finals campaign, but I reckon it's a good kick up the backside against a very good Swan Districts midfield.
Yeah, probably not the worst thing, as stupid as that might sound, get a bad loss out of the way, a couple bad losses, they were the better side for the first half, remarkably. They kicked 9 points for the game, a couple goals in front, a couple shots in front of goal, you'd probably expect them to kick, but yeah, I think West Perth, that's a bit of a reality check for where they're at. But nonetheless, it's nice to see them in the finals the first time in their inception in the current WAFLW model. So
the current coach, Clint Degebrot, he's done a magnificent job. I mean, when he brought himself into the fold as new coach for the West Perth side, he really gave them a really good lesson in playing some good football. And the West Perth women's side, they have really heeded to that and have played some terrific football. Swan Districts, meanwhile, keep in mind, they cleaned West Perth up at Pentanet Stadium a fortnight ago. So maybe they'll look to repeat the dose. So Swan Districts, what a unit they've got. Edgley down back. She's been terrific all season, averaging around about 6 marks a game this season. Courtney Zapara inside that forward line. Ugle Hayward and Maguire providing some good strength in that forward 50, adding to the physical pressure. What a game that one's going to be to start the final series. I can sense this one being a very even contest.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? And, I think all WAFLW sides have really recruited well. Just going back to the game we talked about, Bennett comes off an AFLW list. Webb does the same. They're really coming back.
And Mia Russo as well, who won the Rogers Cup Best and Fairest last year.
Yeah, exactly. So, Swan Districts.
For the grand final, that is.
Yes. Swan Districts and, West Perth. It promises to be a showcase piece. And, yes, I think West Perth will certainly have that game edged into their memories from recent weeks.
Who does win?
I feel like it can go either way. I'm going to back the Swannies.
Tough one to tip, but I like your thinking. You got to take risks at this stage of the season. The game's going to go either way. I'm saying West Perth, they're a much better side than what they have been in the last 2 weeks. So West Perth for me, the knockout final, that one, and then it's followed by the second semi-final between the two sides that have dominated the competition in the last 3 years. East Fremantle, the reigning premiers, up against Claremont, winner to go straight through to July 7's decider.
Yeah, it's the eyes on the prize, really. You get a week off, you're locked into the big dance, a couple of weeks to sort of know that you're there in the last game of the season. So, straight off the bat, I think Jamie Harkin versus Zippy Fish in the midfield. Sort of the best mature player of the competition versus, let's face it, the future of the AFLW.
Well, Harkin's the reigning Dara Kerr medalist, so she's got the runs on the board and a premiership as well. Zippy Fish, she continues to go from strength to strength in midfield for East Fremantle. You also got Ash Gomes and Sharon Wong that are complementing that midfield unit as well.
Yeah, that mix between youth and experience, and there Zippy Fish still 17 years of age, so it's a scary prospect, and I feel like that's the case in a lot of WAFLW sides this year. I mean, I called that game, Subiaco, Olivia Wall-Morans, she was exceptional, probably best on ground. So each side have these young guns, which you like to see. The future is bright.
Absolutely, the future is bright for the women's competition and women's football in this great state. Question is, who wins this second semi-final? This, like the first semi-final, as the old cliche goes, is harder to pick than a broken nose, but who does take out the first spot in the grand final?
Yeah, neutral venue, of course, but I think I'm going to say the Sharks. I think taking nothing away from the Tigers, but I think the Sharks are the team to beat overall. I'm
going to say the Sharks as well. I'm going to go further and say I reckon it'll be an East Fremantle West Perth grand final. I think in the last month, I think Claremont have gone off the boil. They've lost a couple of games that they should have won, including their first loss to West Perth on the last kick of the day, mind you, at Revo Fitness Stadium a few weeks ago. So I reckon at this stage, call me crazy, fans, let us know what you think, but I think it's going to be an East Fremantle West Perth grand final on Sunday, July 7th at Pentanet Stadium.
Straight sets for Claremont. They won't be loving you.
I'm afraid not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, look,
sorry.
West Perth, they're going to have to turn around their form because if they can't play like they have in recent weeks, they need to fix up their goal kicking.
Fans, get on down to Pentanet Stadium. If you can't do so, you can check it out on streamer.com.au. It's a great weekend of finals football for WAFLW in season 2024. 4 teams remain. Only one will be premiers. That will be determined on the 7th of July. That does it for today's edition of Around the WAFL. We'll continue on our finals recaps and previews for the WAFLW in the weeks ahead. And also we'll recap round 12 on Tuesday and look ahead to round 13 next Thursday. Ethan, great job from you as always. All the best for the weekend. I'll see you at the footy.
Yep, enjoy. I'll see you in a couple of weeks.
No doubt about it. Of course, Ethan, he will be out of action next week. He's going overseas, but we'll let you know who's filling in for him next week. So keep your eyes and ears posted on our socials. You can check us out on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram for all your Around the WAFL content. We'll see you on Tuesday to recap round 12 and more of WAFLW Finals action.